In case none of you's ever worked with hired soldiers before, it's like this. You gotta be alive to get paid.
The Dogs of War, 1980, directed by John Irvin and based on Frederick Forsyth's novel, is a gritty political military thriller. Known for its realism and grounded tone, the film blends geopolitical intrigue with detailed depictions of mercenary warfare. The story follows seasoned mercenary Jamie Shannon, who is hired to recon a small African nation ruled by a brutal dictator. After uncovering the truth behind a corporate conspiracy, he assembles a strike team to carry out a high-risk coup that will decide the country's future. Although The Dogs of War saw only modest box office success upon its 1980 release, its reputation has grown steadily, particularly among fans of military fiction. Its enduring appeal comes from its unusually accurate portrayal of mercenary operations, weapons procurement, and guerrilla tactics. The film is frequently praised for Christopher Walken's intense performance and its grounded realism, which set it apart from the more sensational action movies of the era. While not a major blockbuster, it has achieved cult status over the decades, especially among enthusiasts of political thrillers and military cinema. The film's combat sequences stand out for their tactical authenticity, impressive for their time. The Dogs of War depicts firefights that resemble real mercenary engagements of the 1970s. Short, violent, and strategically calculated. Shannon's team relies on careful planning, reconnaissance, improvised explosives, and realistic small arms throughout their mission. The Dogs of War represents a shift toward modern war films. It portrays war and its cost to human life in a harsh, unromanticized way. As a gun movie, The Dogs of War is also notably forward-thinking. It features weapons that were considered modern for its time, many of which were still relatively uncommon in films of the early 1980s. Shannon's grenade launcher became one of the movie's most iconic and recognizable elements. Let's begin our breakdown of the weapons seen in the film, starting with those used by the mercenaries. Christopher Walken's character, Jamie Shannon, is seen with 2 handguns in his home. Inside his refrigerator, he keeps a Beretta M1934 pistol chambered in .380 ACP. The same pistol appears again when Shannon retrieves it from a drawer before answering the door. In Shannon's build drawer, a Smith & Wesson Model 10 revolver in .38 Special with a 3-inch barrel can also be seen. At the end of the film, Shannon uses a Colt M1911A1 chambered in .45 ACP when he shoots Colonel Bobby, played by George Harris. The scene contains a continuity error. After the shooting, when Shannon tosses the pistol onto the desk, it has suddenly changed into a Browning high power. At the beginning of the film, Shannon and the other mercenaries are seen carrying 5.56 by 45mm XM177E2 style carbines. In reality, these are Colt Sporter 1 carbines with 16-inch barrels, modified to look like XM77E2s. The rifles feature either slab-side or A1 upper receivers, along with aftermarket flash hiders styled after those on the XM177E2. In the novel on which the film is loosely based, the mercenaries are armed with FN FAL rifles rather than XM177E2 type carbines. An interesting detail in this scene and later in the film is the appearance of actor Ed O'Neill, who would later become widely known for his role as Al Bundy in the TV series Married with Children. Jamie Shannon and many of the other mercenaries use 9x19mm IMI Uzi submachine guns during the film's final assault. The Uzis carried by Shannon and by Jinja, played by Eddie Tago, are fitted with Psionics 2-stage sound suppressors. Shannon's weapon is also equipped with a Starlight scope. The combination of an open-bolt Uzi submachine gun and a Starlight scope is unusual. The original Uzi was designed without the intention of mounting separate optical sights, which is why it lacks a dedicated attachment point for optics. In addition, the weapon's geometry makes mounting an optic difficult due to the charging handle located on top of the gun. As a result, in the film, Shannon's weapon features the bulky Starlight scope mounted at the rear of the gun, directly over the rear sight. A Starlight scope fitted to an M16-based rifle would have been a more fitting and practical combination for the film. However, choosing the Uzi for the film simply followed the trend of the time. Uzi submachine guns became highly popular in films in the late 1970s. The attempted assassination of Ronald Reagan in 1981 increased the public visibility of the Uzi, as members of the U.S. Secret Service were seen carrying the weapon. As a result, filmmakers sought to continue using them in movies in the following decades. However, during the 1970s and even into the 1980s, the weapon was often unavailable or available only in limited numbers. When actual Uzis were unavailable or too few in number, productions often disguised MAC-10 submachine guns to look like Uzis. The Dogs of War uses this approach as well. During the training sequence aboard the SS Toscana, Zangara's mercenaries can be seen with real Uzis, MAC-10s, and MAC-10s modified to resemble Uzis. In the final assault, Shannon is also seen using a MAC-10 that has been disguised to look like an Uzi in several scenes. In the novel on which the film is loosely based, the mercenaries instead use a cache of World War II-era MP-40 submachine guns purchased from a former SS soldier. The most attention-grabbing weapon in the film is the fictional XM-18 multi-shot grenade launcher, which is actually the Manville 25mm projectile launcher. The real history of the Manville launcher is quite interesting. It was far ahead of its time. Originally designed in 1936, it was conceived as a rotary cylinder 12-gauge launcher with a 24-round capacity. The design was later reworked to fire 25mm tear gas or smoke grenades and flares, reducing the capacity to 18 rounds. A final 37mm version with a 12-round cylinder was produced, but during World War II, the military showed no interest, and the weapon quietly disappeared from production. For the Dogs of War, the filmmakers acquired a 25mm Manville, and the movie unexpectedly created massive new demand for the launcher. As a result, Frankfurt Arsenal began producing updated versions in 25mm, 37mm, and 40mm under a new name, the Hawk MM1 grenade launcher. The weapon also sparked interest in South Africa. In 1981, the firearms company Milcor began developing what became the MGL, multiple grenade launcher. Production started in 1983, and after the introduction of the Mark 1S variant, the MGL eventually gained widespread adoption in militaries around the world through the 2000s. In the film, the Manville projectile launcher is primarily used by Jamie Shannon and Drew, played by Tom Berenger, during the final assault. When the border police stop the truck in which Jean-François Stevenen's character, Michel, is smuggling weapons hidden inside barrels, he is seen carrying a French M1935A pistol chambered in 7.65mm long. In the final assault, Paul Freeman's character, Derek, uses an M60 machine gun chambered in 7.62 by 51mm. It's interesting to observe how Derek handles his weapon. He fires it properly, in short, controlled, and aimed bursts, unlike most of the other characters in the film, who typically shoot from the hip in the exaggerated action movie style of the era. During the same sequence, the Zangaran mercenaries employ M72 Law rocket launchers. At the beginning of that scene, Drew also plants an M18A1 Claymore mine on the road. In the film's opening scene, the soldiers can be seen carrying 5.56 by 45mm rifles, various Colt M16 variants, as well as Valmet M71S rifles. Valmets also appear in the hands of Zangaran troops during the scene in which Shannon photographs them from his hotel window. The Zangaran forces are additionally seen with Australian-made 7.62 by 51mm L1A1 rifles produced by Lithgow Arsenal. The Zangaran guard who is later killed by Shannon is armed with a 7.62 by 39mm Simonov SKS rifle. During the final assault, a Zangaran woman is shown using a 9 by 19mm Walther P38 pistol. Hope you enjoyed the video. Write in the comments what you thought of the Dogs of War movie and what things and details you found in the movie yourself. Also remember to like the video, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, it's worth doing so. It's free to subscribe, and you'll be notified when more interesting videos about firearms and movies are uploaded to the channel.